What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash said it. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily podcast show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,600 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so very much. And yes, we're still dealing with a bit of pandemic life, pandemic living. But I have got a pretty awesomely talented young man chilling out with me today. You guys may know him, actor, creator, entertainer, plant eater, truth speaker, and husband to, of course, the wonderful, talented Gabrielle Reyes. Yes, one great vegan. But today, we got her hubby with us, Ace Anderson. What up, Ace?
What's going on?
Oh, we are good. How you doing today, brother?
Oh, I'm so good. It feels good to be here. I'm glad to be alive.
Amen.
Glad to be in sunny LA.
All right. Okay, getting you some sun rays in. Loving that. All right. So, Ace, let's talk a little bit about your career. So, did you always want to be a creator?
I would say yes. Absolutely. Like, beyond the shadow of a doubt. I was raised by a carpenter, guy who did, woodwork and carpentry, and then my mother was a systems analyst, so she was a computer whiz. And so because of that mix, I had this kind of systematic, analytical approach to creativity. And my parents really nurtured that in me because it kept me happy. Like I was kind of a spoiled kid in a sense that I was the middle child. I was the only out of my two siblings, out of the three of us, I was the one that both my parents planned for. My brother was my half brother. My dad met my mom when he was when my brother was 2, and my sister was a surprise. So me being the middle child, I was the one child that my parents actually expected to have and planned to have, and my dad wanted a son. Yeah. And like it was like that's what he got, right? So my life kind of has always been in some sense determined. It's like this is what you're supposed to do. I've been destined in a way, like and I've always felt that way. So I became really creative, like following my dad's footsteps of like being able to create things. I remember growing up, my dad had like sketches of houses that he wanted to build and like these beautiful 3D blueprints and yeah, he just had all of these cool. He loved cars and he was just a designer. He loved aesthetic and things to look nice and he just loved things looking cool and looking good. And my mom was this like, was just on top of stuff. She knew how to figure something out. Like she always understood how she could figure it out. If nobody is going to tell her, she'll get up the courage and figure it out and do it herself. Or she'll take the lead on it and, make it happen. And she wants what she wants and she'll get it. And so that's the same thing that I got from my mom. And so the mix of that allowed me to be this like super creative person who was obsessed with Legos and playing with Kinects and playing Roller Coaster Tycoon on my computer, Sim City, and like all the games that allow you to create worlds and build things. And my parents bought me a sketchbook, and I had a sketchbook, and I would draw all of my friends from church. I would draw them as superheroes. Aww. And so I was creating this like superhero world of me and my friends, and then I had this dream of like creating a tunnel in my house and like taking it to our secret superhero fort, and and like my parents really fostered that, and then And then all of a sudden my parents were getting a divorce. And all of that was going to be stripped away and taken away from me. Yeah. And my mom was really, really adamant about making sure that we stayed busy, because she knew, like, idle minds are the devil's playground, right? So if we're not home getting any attention because things are going down with the divorce, like, at least we could be somewhere doing some kind of art or something, you know. And so she put us in, like, sports and boxing and, like, and just different things. And I always had a sketchbook, so she had me audition for Bach Middle School of the Arts in West Palm Beach, Florida. And at Bach Middle School, you could select a major and one major. You could select two majors, right? That you wanted to audition for to go into the school. And so the assumption was that I would do visual arts, right? Just so I could get into school, because I had the sketchbook. I was always drawing. People always complimented my artwork. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an artist, and I'm going to go to this school, and, like, you know, I don't care about my parents and, like, this divorce or anything, but I can just go away for, you know, do this art thing. And I didn't get in for visual art. Luckily, so luckily, my mom knew that I had always done impersonations from, like, watching Eddie Murphy's Saturday Night Live sketches and watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and watching The Cosby Show. Like, growing up watching and Family Matters, I could always do these impressions spot on of characters on TV. Yeah. So we were like, well, for your secondary major, why don't we put down theater? So I transcribed SNL's Eddie Murphy's George Washington Carver rendition, and I transcribed it, wrote it on a piece of notebook paper, and then performed that for my audition at Bach, and I got into the school. And at that point, from that point, 10 years old, no, I must have been 9 years old, I'm like, I am going to be the next Will Smith. Like, that was the vision, and that was the goal. That's what I wanted to do. I'm like, I know I can do this. I'm an actor. Like, I had a sketchbook. I thought I was going to be a sketch artist for the rest of my life, you know? Like, and then, I mean, granted, I'm 9, right? I've only been on this earth 9 years, so, like who am I to really determine what I'm going to be? But I'm like, but everybody had thought that I was going to be this artist, you know? And then all of a sudden, I'm the actor in the family. And then I'm just so fortunate to have had these art schools, man, because I had Bach Middle School of the Arts, and then they were that was the middle school to the high school of the arts, Alexander W. Dreyfus School of the Arts in West Palm Beach, and they have a program that takes you to Unified in Chicago, and then through them, like, they also allow you to audition for Young Arts, which is a national foundation that fosters the top 1% of artists in the nation. And I was selected because I went through my training at Dreyfus. I was selected to be represented in the top 1% of artists my age in the nation. And then to be able to be accepted by such an amazing institution of SMU, where they have a fantastic acting program that's, like, kind of the unsung hero, I feel like, of the United States, because, like, so many great people have come out of there. But to go there and get the education that I got, and then, because of my education at SMU, be accepted to be one of 10 of the top elite Dallas actors at the Tony Award-winning Dallas Theater Center, to be a company member there with these fantastic people is such a blessing, and only due to my trajectory, like my miraculous trajectory as a performer. And it's just wild to see the journey. But to answer your question, I've always known that I wanted to be creative, and I've always known that was this is what I want to do, you know.
Awesome. I love it. No, that is an amazing, because most people today, if you ask them something like that, they're not going to know. I'll sit up and put my hand up. I ain't know, you know, at 5 years old, my mom was telling me, you're going to be a doctor. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a doctor. All right, cool. You know, you get your little stethoscope, you know, you got your little set up, but you get old enough to realize, okay, that ain't really what you want. That's really not what you want. So it's a beautiful thing to hear, like, wow, like, even though, like, you didn't necessarily have a full-on clear scope of what that would look like, you knew that you had something within yourself that ultimately would be the end goal of who you were and your message to the world.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing. Very, very beautiful thing. Yeah. All right, so
we're all just trying to get closer to the vision, you know, like whatever the vision of our future is. 'Cause that's heaven.
Yeah, but
that's
no, okay.
Heaven. Whatever the vision of your future is heaven. That's the best. That's what you want it to be, right? You want the best part of your life to be at the end, and then get there. You want to try to figure out a way to get there. And so that's essentially what I did as a kid, and I didn't know I was doing that.
Right.
But I was visualizing a future that I could actually hit, and then every choice that I made in my life was, I could now judge myself based off of my own future, right? Like, then I can make choices a little bit better, because then I have somewhere to go. I'm not aimless. I'm not lost. Like, you have a vision. Okay, I want to be the next Will Smith. Like, I mean, that's a really shallow vision, but it's still a vision.
Yeah.
You know, it's still something to say, like, oh, that's a target. That's a goal.
Right.
Okay, how can we be a little bit closer to being like Will Smith? You know, and what would I have to do to be on that same path? And then my life kind of just led me in that direction, and all I had to do was keep walking in the steps, you know, keep taking those same steps. As long the path is already there. Once if you're at point A, you're heading to point B. Your point B determines your direction, right?
Right.
Like, because you don't have any direction until you have a point B. You have to have a destination. Then you can get direction.
Right.
Then you can take steps, right? So the steps are the easy part.
Yeah.
But you have to do it in that order. You have the destination, then you have the direction, then you have the steps.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, wow. It just, you taking us to church here, Ace. You go ahead and preach it to the choir now. Okay. I see you, bro. No, but, okay. So going back to your life, you know, you were born up north, the Northeast. You grew up in the South, and eventually you set your adult root up in Dallas, which is where you met that lovely lady in which you call your lovely wife. So we were talking earlier about destination, and I believe I asked you something along the lines of if there was a mistake or something that you would have done differently in your life.
Disappointments.
Yeah, disappointments.
Yeah, we were talking about disappointments, and disappointments is an interesting term for me, because looking at my life in the way that I just described, point A to point B, it's hard to really say that anything was a disappointment, because I'm not dead yet, so I can still hit my goal, right? Like, I can still reach my target. Everything is just trying to get me a little bit closer. If I'm not dead, then I can still work. I can still work to get closer to the goal, which is the whole goal of life. Right. And so, I got into a point in my life where I started getting really, really depressed and sad and worried, because that things that I had wanted to manifest in my life were not manifesting themselves. And I really was I was worried about that because I was getting older, and by older I mean I'm like, mid-20s. I'm like getting older. I'm like, I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know like if this is the right thing. Like I've learned I've become a graphic designer for a little bit. I became a photographer for a little while. And I became a writer, and now I'm stage acting, but I really want to do film. I really want to do all these other things, and nothing is really going the way that I thought it would. And in that point, I got really lonely because I didn't know where I was going. Everyone was leaving Dallas. All of my college friends that I had met in Dallas, because you got to understand, like, Dallas is all I know as an adult. Like, as a fully formed human being, once I graduated college, I stayed in Dallas. So I can't go home because home, there's nothing in home. Work is in Dallas. Everything is in Dallas. Yeah. Dallas is my life now, truly. And so everyone in my school is starting to leave. All of my Dallas friends, my Dallas family is now going other places, moving to LA, moving to New York, moving to Miami, moving to Chicago. And I'm just here in Dallas working this 9-to-5 job as a graphic designer when I really want to be an actor. I really want to be in movies. And this graphic design job isn't even allowing me to be to go and do stage. Like, they're not even allowing me to be a stage actor. So I quit that job and said, you know what? Like, I guess I can say when disappointments are when I have disappointed myself in terms of a decision that I've made, where it's like I'm doing the wrong thing. Right? Like, no more of this. No more graphic design 9-to-5 job. That's not what I signed up for. That's not what I want. Right. What I want is to be creative, and so I quit my job, not knowing what the heck I was doing, and finally when I quit my job, I was able to like successfully get a relationship, which I thought it would happen the other way around. Like, I thought that in my job I would meet someone. Gotcha. And it didn't turn out that way. So it turned out that when I quit my job, I ended up having enough free time where I could like work on my craft. Right. And through my craft, I met someone. And that wasn't my wife, but I thought she was my wife. And it, but that was really helpful in allowing me to figure out it was kind of like a reward, like positive reinforcement, like good, Ace, you should have quit your job, like that's how you get your relationship. And so, then working free as an artist, I got my own little office space and started a business, and then as this relationship was ending, I was meeting Gabrielle, and so I'm in this like new, fully formed function of this new, fully formed version of Ace Anderson, where I'm like, taking charge of my life, and I'm making money, and now I'm a company member, and I'm an actor, and like I'm actually doing the thing. I'm not just talking about doing the thing anymore, Yeah. And so I was just in time. I was in a good relationship, and so when Gabrielle met me, she could see me in a good relationship and know that I would be good in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so it was important for me to have now quit my job. Like, because we always talk about this. If we met any time before the day we met, before August 13th, 2016, wow. If we met any time before that, we would not have liked each other. There would have been something like, I don't like, it would have been something. Something would have been flipped with the universe, and it would have not worked out. Because we just needed to grow and develop into the people that we developed into, so that by August 13th, 2016, we could actually fall in love. And that's exactly what happened over the course of the next 3 days. Wow. And that's a whole other can of worms that we can talk about on another
Yeah,
episode.
we I don't know we got time for that one, Ace, because I mean, you know,
that's a whole other thing about how it all came to be.
But I have to say like this, having interviewed Gabrielle last year and, you know, talking about her journey, her lifestyle being vegan and, you know, then incorporating you into that and stuff. And then looking at you guys on social media, seeing the social posts, understanding and knowing that every relationship is not perfect, but you two look like you were created for each other. It's just I don't even know how to explain it. Like when I see y'all together, I'm like, oh my god, look at they so damn cute. They are adorable. Like y'all genuinely, like in my eyes, as far as people in my age range, I think I'm a little bit older than y'all, but in my age range, to see the two of y'all, the way that y'all look at each other, the way that y'all are helping each other in the different crafts that you do, it's a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. And just keep that going, because it's like black love. I mean, it's real. You know, it's difficult. There's gonna be no relationship is perfect, but the way that you react and communicate with each other, I think that that's a huge part of what helps a relationship work. And
we're actually really interested in showcasing some of the negative qualities of our relationship. You know, because it isn't. Like, it is 99.9999999% beautiful and amazing and awesome. But there's that 0.000000001% that is, like, that's tragic. And, I mean, you're talking about two actors, and we are dramatic, and we are loud, and we are not at all what you like. Not at all what you're seeing, and not to say that it's like what we show online is fake at all.
Absolutely not.
100% genuine, but like it's not always that. You know,
right.
It isn't always that. We just do that. Like that's when we feel like turning on the camera. Like we don't feel like turning on the camera because that's not for anybody. It really isn't anybody's business.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
you know, like we get into our fights and it's personal stuff and things that like. You know, we say things that hurt each other's feelings that shouldn't ever be said to the public ever. You know, but because we're married, you have to like get that stuff out. Like some of those things need to be said so that we can know those things can't be tolerated. Right. We say it so that we know where the limits are. Like, okay, you just went too far. Is that really what that is? You know what I mean? So, so we're interested in showcasing some of that, but.
But I think that, you know, the fact that you guys have, and I had no intention of really going into depth with this, because, you know, like you said, this could be a whole separate episode. We're going to get you and Gabrielle on the line for that one. But I think that the fact that you guys, like I said, no relationship is perfect. Obviously what you guys have done in the background is working for you, and I would just say that that's just an inspiration to the rest of us, you know, when we find our other half, to have something to look forward to. So, you know, keep that good energy, you know, it's appreciated. You know, it warms my heart when I see y'all. It does.
Great. I'm so happy. That warms my heart to hear.
Yeah, it really does. But that's all right. So let's get into The Devil's Advocate. All right, this is your new talk show. Everybody's been talking about it. It's been featured. It's been just really just climbing the charts and circulating. Where did this come from?
Yeah, so my homie Akron Watson, who's an actor, singer, Broadway actor, TV actor. He's done the whole thing. He's, you know, just like me. He's my brother. We met 10 years ago in my first ever stage play. And we hit it off, man. We met, we started making music, and like we just always have been talking. So for the last 10 years, we've been making music, and it's been really great. But because we're both actors, we took paths away from each other. You know, like acting is kind of a solo career, right? You can't really do that as a team like you can do music. So we both took our things to doing acting, went off on our own things, and then finally when coronavirus came around, like the whole world opened back up to everyone, right? So because everybody wasn't doing anything, so we could do what we're doing right now, which is like podcasting and live shows and all of that stuff. So we found ourselves talking more. We're best friends, but we didn't really talk at all. Like we talk maybe once every 2 months and catch up, and maybe it's a text message. But now we're like FaceTiming each other, and it's like weird. Guys don't really FaceTime. I don't know if people know that. Like, guys don't FaceTime each other. Like I FaceTime one of my guy friends. Like it's weird. He's like, dude, why are you FaceTiming me, man? Like, dude. So like, but now me and my homie Akron are FaceTiming, and so we're talking all the time about the new things we're discovering, and as epidemics and life-changing events are happening. We're engaging each other and getting into like arguments, or not arguments, but debates, all the time about just different ideas. And so we'd always find ourselves saying, oh, let me play the devil's advocate. I'll be the devil's advocate on that. I'll do this. I'll do that, And because we've always found ourselves to be two sides of the same coin. Right. Like me and Gabrielle are two sides of the, in terms of a romantic relationship. Right. In terms of me and Akron's relationship, it's the same way, but as a brotherly relationship, right? Like we're two sides of the same coin. I feel like I'm the kind of goody two-shoes, straight edge, and and he's the kind of bad boy sort of, wants to be bad single bachelor sort of thing, like. But we really gel and we make music really well together. I'm a great writer, great poet, and so is he. But he's also a great singer, and a great he has a great ear for music. So our ability to come together and create stuff was just like wow. Like we always balance each other. There's this contrast. So the devil's advocate started to play up and be like, wow, this is a cool idea, a cool concept. And so we started in following Gabrielle's footsteps. She was doing her live Saturday shows. Yeah. And so we were like, let's just do a live talk show. It'll just be a private conversation between you and I, but we'll go live and like have people in on it, and we can do different topics and stuff. And so we kind of did it early on in the summertime. Summer 2020, and it worked out really well, but we weren't really committed to it, like how Gabrielle is like doing it every weekend. We got to be committed to it, So as we started, Gabrielle released a cookbook December 17th on her birthday. Yeah. As we were coming up to the release of that was a whole, because I designed and basically produced the entire thing. And so, in creating that, I'm like, oh, wow, I could do this for myself. Like, imagine if I got this for myself. So I hit up Akron. I was like, yo, let's bring back the Devil's Advocate as a show. Let's do it weekly. Let's just do it every Monday, until Kingdom Come, and just see if we can do it. Even if the show is bad, even if nobody ever watches it, it's nothing. Let's just make it happen. So he was on board, fortunately. And then in that, I was like, we're talking all the time because we're making this show. Let's release an album. So we're going to actually release a Devil's Advocate album. An album called The Devil's Advocate that's released on March 16th. And the Devil's Advocate is just the idea of brothers toying with making the best cases for the guiltiest pleasures. And all of our exploration of music and our life choices, how those guilty pleasures, how can we make the best cases for those guilty pleasures? So we talk about smoking and sex and drinking and all the vices on our album. But it's so poetic. We also talk about knowing your destiny, knowing where you're headed, and the same topics that we talk about in the album is exactly what we talk about every Monday night on The Devil's Advocate, and it's 10 p.m. It's supposed to be late night, just feel like you can hang with the fellas and just tune in, and we'll just talk. Taboo conversations is kind of the subtitle. We want to make sure we're talking about stuff that people don't normally get to talk about, especially Black men. And so that's really important to us, and it's fostering a lot of creativity. Just us doing this show every week.
Yeah. Now, Ace, how can people tune into the show and, of course, follow you guys on social media?
Go to everything at Ace Shot That. You can go to aceshotdat.com, Ace Shot That on all social media. That's the best way to find me. And it's super easy. If you want to just Google Ace Anderson, you will find literally like the first 3 pages is all me. So Google Ace Anderson, you can find all my content. I'm most active on Instagram. And then our Devil's Advocate show is on YouTube, and it's on my channel at Ace Shot That. And that's going to be the best way to find us on everything.
Cool beans. Ace, much more success to you, the team, Gabrielle, everybody involved with the movement. You got my full support. You know what I'm saying? Your sister from another mister.
Thank you so much.
Definitely keep doing that. Keep pushing it forward. Good energy always, all the time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face, you tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Later.